the Department of Justice, Snubs, the new GOP Oversight Committee, and Jim Jordan. He's been telling the DOJ, the FBI, and all of America that the Republicans, now that they're in charge and they run the Judiciary Committee, that they are coming in hot and executing some oversight. This is Representative Jim Jordan on with Laura Ingraham, and he's asked about these Biden documents. And he tells us there's a lot more here than meets the eye. Joe Biden was involved with the CCP in very obscure, tangential ways, but it looks like it's all coming out, and Jim Jordan is going to get to the bottom of it.
University itself.
Well, I'll start with the latter. So first of all, we know that it's been reported that China gave millions of dollars to the University of Pennsylvania. It's been reported that China gave millions of dollars to the University of Pennsylvania and to the Biden Center at the University of Pennsylvania. Then we know, of course, classified documents were found at the University of Pennsylvania Biden Center. And then we know when Joe Biden became president of the United States, he made the president of the University of Pennsylvania the ambassador to Germany. And now the University of Pennsylvania says, oh, we don't know anything about donations from China. None of that makes sense. I mean, that answer makes no sense. So Chairman Comer is going to get the records of who gave money to the University of Pennsylvania. He's determined to do that. And to the former question, he is specifically looking to get the visitor records from the Secret Service of who went to Joe Biden's home and then also who had access to the Penn Biden Center at the University of Pennsylvania.
Were you surprised, sir, that the White House's response on the visitor log question to Biden's home, they were so dismissive, saying they don't exist? Well, of course, he has. I mean, we all know he has Secret Service protection for life. And we know that they have a record of everyone who comes in contact with him. So why would they have said that, do you think?
I think everyone is surprised at every response we have gotten from the White House. Everyone's surprised at how this whole thing is unfolded. I still don't know the answer to why they were looking in the first place. What prompted them to go look on November 2nd at the Penn Biden Center for whatever they were looking for, or were they specifically going to look for classified documents that may have been there? I don't know the answers. There's all kinds of questions we don't know the answer to. I do think it's interesting, and this is what we'll be looking at in the Judiciary Committee. I do think it's interesting how the DOJ has responded. We've seen all kinds of things that seem inconsistent. Why didn't they accompany the lawyers when they went to pick up the classified documents? I have no idea why they didn't.
I don't know why either.
So there's all kinds of questions there. But my gut tells me the reason we see these inconsistencies from the Department of Justice is because this is the same Department of Justice that spied on parents and targeted parents. This is the same Department of Justice that paid Twitter $3.4 million to censor information and keep it from the American people. This is the same Department of Justice that we believe has retaliated against the very whistleblowers from the FBI who've come talk to us about how political that place has become. So I guess we shouldn't be surprised when we see what we have now witnessed from the DOJ relative to the classified documents and Joe Biden.
Good stuff from Jim Jordan. And, obviously we're going to see what they are able to produce for us. I had to reset a couple settings over here. I'm not sure if the audio changed at all. I pressed the wrong button. All right. So that's Jim Jordan, and he is going after the Democrats from the House Oversight Committee. And he sent a bunch of letters. We've read through most of the letters on this channel, but he is now getting a snub from the DOJ. Here is what this is what the response was from the DOJ. Politico tells us that the DOJ has responded and they're reserving the right to not cooperate with certain House GOP requests. They're saying, no thanks. Thanks for your letters, but we're okay. It's an early marker of how the DOJ is going to be responding to the new oversight by the Republicans. You see, it says here, the Justice Department is signaling that it has the right to not cooperate with Hill Republicans in their request to speak and to peek into their ongoing investigations. It says, we'll read the letter. The letter went back over to Jim Jordan, the man we just listened to. It acknowledges their multiple requests. It's an early marker of the DOJ's position with Republicans. Let's take a listen to what it reads like. Here it is. From the DOJ, Office of Legislative Affairs, Office of the Assistant Attorney General, going over to the Honorable Jim Jordan, Chairman of the Committee on the Judiciary from the Republican Party. They write, Dear Chairman Jordan, all right, we're in receipt of your letter from January 17th, letters to the DOJ, as well as 3 of our law enforcement components, the FBI, the DEA, and the ATF. And we've read through tons of letters from Jim Jordan, many, many of them. And I think there were 1,000 pages in total. It was like a giant novel. It was great. Regarding information requests that you sent during the prior Congress, they say, listen, in light of your appointment as chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, the department would like to take this opportunity to review our practices with respect to congressional engagement for the benefit of you and for us. They say, we look forward to a productive relationship with you. And the DOJ says, we welcome your interest in our work. The Office of Legislative Affairs is responsible for this, and if you'd like to contact them at these numbers. Now, the department will ensure that each congressional letter is dealt with utmost importance. So they're giving them some better ways to contact them so they get responses. The DOJ says, our department stands ready to provide expertise as this committee considers potential legislation. We often provide technical assistance on draft or introduce legislation, and we encourage you to share drafts as early as possible so that we can help. We also anticipate that your new oversight committee will invite department representatives to appear at hearings, which serve as important tools for informing the public. Preparation for these hearings takes time, so we ask that you send written invitation for testimony at least 2 weeks in advance. Sounds reasonable. Sufficient advance notice enables the identification of a mutual agreeable date. The committee should include information about the focus of the hearing and so on. That way we can decide if we want to show up or not. Now, the department will be better able to meet your needs at the hearings if your request is specific. When information is not appropriate for a public hearing, we'll try to do it in closed settings. Once the format of the hearing is established, we'll work through our schedules. Again, we encourage your staff to reach out. Reach out early, and we'll participate. Now, with respect to oversight requests for information and for documents, we share your belief that congressional oversight is vital to our functioning democracy, and we are committed to cooperating with your efforts. As President Reagan explained in his 1982 directive, there's a tradition of accommodation that we should use to resolve conflict. And we think that that is possible. So the DOJ says, okay, Jim Jordan, the committee can assist the department in making this process as efficient as possible by discussing the use of the information. This helps us prioritize requests. And regarding your request to interview our people as part of your oversight, we hope you do this collaboratively. As a matter of longstanding policy, the department refrains from making line agents and line attorneys available. We send supervisory agents, and that is consistent with our historical practices. And also consistent with our practices, we have an obligation to protect the government's ability to prosecute fully, fairly, and effectively. That is the executive branch's core function. And so your January 17th letter, they say, references information requests that you sent during the prior Congress. The department and its components worked in good faith to respond to these requests consistent with our policy, based on interbranch comity and respect for your functions, to give due weight and sympathetic consideration to all of your members. Your January 17th request, writes Carlos Uriarte, made now in your position as chairman, initiate the constitutionally mandated accommodation process. Under this process, the legislative and executive branches have a constitutional obligation to negotiate, but also while protecting the institutional interest of the executive branch. We look forward to this progress. We believe in the good faith negotiations, and we'll focus on current priorities. Finally, we're committed to protecting whistleblowers. We hope this information is helpful, and we look forward to providing a productive relationship. Please do not hesitate to contact us with any additional questions. And so you can see not a giant snub there. He's not saying we're, refusing to cooperate with you, but you can see he's putting out some pretty hard lines there. We'll work with you, do things this way in order for us to be efficient with you. And there are going to be instances where there's basically two justifications, two big buckets of categories that they're not going to work with them on. One, ongoing investigations. The other is executive privilege, right? Any ongoing prosecutions that are taking place, they're going to say, well, one of our constitutional obligations is to make these things separate and apart. And so leave us alone, basically, on that one. And the other one will be about executive privilege. They have an obligation to the executive branch. We do have a separate but equal system of government. And I like it when government agencies are battling with each other. I think it's healthy and normal, and we need more of it in this country rather than everybody just sort of high-fiving each other every time they pass a new spending bill because they're all going on vacation. This is good. We want to see the DOJ pushing back. We want to see Congress going after them. And I hope Congress doesn't let up. Keep the pressure on them. Follow their rules. Do everything by the book here. And never let up. Never stop. Every single person should be hauled in front who's involved in any of these ridiculous prosecutions. And we should get to the bottom of it. So that's the response from the DOJ. Jim Jordan will, of course, respond. The House Oversight Committee will be highly involved, and we'll see what they jump into. But that, my friends, is something we'll continue to cover as there's this ongoing battle. The DOJ, the FBI, the DHS, CDC, on and on and on. The Republicans are going to be launching investigations. We will continue to cover them. Thank you for subscribing and liking this video wherever it is you're watching it. And we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.